Hey, what's up, guys? This is Seth.
I'm Len.
And we're TechShift. Today, we're going to talk to you about the Microsoft Surface Pro 3.
Yes, there are rumors that the Surface 4 Pro is coming out next month. So I figured we'd talk about the Surface Pro 3 because I've been using it for quite some time now. A good time. This is the second time I had the Surface Pro, actually.
So, quick question, Len. Why did you get the Surface Pro 3 instead of a normal laptop?
Yeah, well, first off, I use Macs predominantly.
We both do.
Yeah. If you guys watch my older previous videos, I've had the MacBook Pro. I've had an abundant amount of Macs in the last few years.
Right.
Sort of, I had a compromise because I needed a little bit more of a budget laptop, and this isn't really a budget machine. But I was able to pick one up because it was on sale, so I re-picked up a Surface Pro 3 for about $500, which I thought was a good deal because it is the i3 model, the base model, but for what I use it for, price, I thought it was a good deal. And I wanted this machine in particular. I could have gotten a cheaper laptop, definitely a netbook, something, a Chromebook, but I wanted this because I'm still a student. It's my last year in college, and I did like the fact that this was sort of a tablet that focused on. They try to sell to professionals, but I'd say this is a better machine for students. Why do I say that? The pen. I take notes, and I used to take notes, typing it down, but I prefer writing things down. Maybe it's like one of those habits. It just feels a lot more comfortable. And the Surface Pen, I think it is excellent for like a stylus.
Right.
So
but you do have one problem with the pen, or more specifically, the pen holder.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So here's the pen holder. It's not attached to the Surface keyboard in any way. I think it's pretty stupid that they didn't just like attach it on for you.
Or sew it.
Yeah,
on.
so instead when you buy it, it comes separate, so you stick it on. And all it is a little bit of adhesive. So if you don't get it down perfect the first time, it's gonna fall off. Because the actual material of the type cover is sort of like a...
It's like felt.
Yeah, so adhesive felt, it's bound to come off if you don't get it on perfectly the first time. And even if you do get it on the first time, it's very tight when you first throw the pen in it. So it generally moves it around some. So let's say if you're gonna buy a Surface and pop the sticker on and wait before you put the pen in. That's a little advice I give you, because this is the second time it's fallen off, and they sell new ones. You know, that's how often it happens.
Yeah, how much
do
they sell for?
$6-7. But the fact of the matter is, I think they could have.
It's a design
sewed
flaw.
it on. Yeah, they could have
right?
sewed that on, man. Yeah.
So speaking of flaws, the Surface Pro 3 isn't a perfect machine.
Definitely not.
So
yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to ask you, who buys a Surface Pro 3 when they can get either a MacBook or a Windows laptop? What is so appealing about a crossover that is both a tablet and a computer?
Again, I think it strings back to, for myself, for example, it's it's a great student machine. Most students, including when you're in school, you don't need the most powerful hardware. You know, even if you're in computer science, which I am in,
you just need to get work done.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't need top of the line graphics, top of the line processor, any of that. So just in terms of specs, the machine offers, it's good enough. You can't spec it out, but I don't think it's the smartest thing to do on a Surface, because it does get pretty expensive. And again, it's not the perfect machine, as in it's not the perfect laptop, and it's not the perfect tablet.
Speaking of laptop, let's go over that real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
I have my MacBook right here.
Yeah.
15-inch Retina MacBook Pro, and it is a laptop. I can put it on my lap.
Definitely.
I can open it and I can use it on my lap. So can you show our viewers?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows this by now, but the Surface Pro 3, you can adjust it all the way up to here, and you can adjust it anywhere.
And it's a variable adjustment stand.
Yeah, so the Surface 3, not the Pro, you can click it once, twice, and 3 times, which is pretty good, but this is a lot better, and it does have a tight...
Right.
Yeah.
To me, that seems a bit like a deliberate omission, because the hinge doesn't seem... I mean, I can understand why they want to separate the original Surface from my Pro model.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem very... that doesn't seem like a big deal to me to actually limit a original Surface user.
I believe they said that they didn't include, this hinge, the variable hinge, because it would cost too much for the regular Surface model.
It would cost.
It would cost them too much money to implement that into the Surface,
okay.
the non-pro line.
All right.
So I guess in terms of money, that does make sense.
So can you use it the way I use it right here on my laptop?
Yes and no.
Okay,
So
show our
I
viewers.
don't know if that's on camera, but I can do this. But the problem is,
It seems
Yeah.
that it's hitting his knee.
it's hitting my knee, and I can adjust it higher, but the angle of the screen isn't perfect because then it's just too tilted up.
And
Too
how is the
tilted at
weight?
90 degrees. It's that can be another issue
Right.
because it's again, it's a tablet,
Yes.
so it's top heavy in this sense, so it doesn't feel as comfortable, and it's always hitting your knees, like Seth mentioned. So again, it's not the best. They say it's very lappable. I think that's the term they coined, lappability.
It seems that from the base of the Surface to
Yeah.
all the way where the hinge adjusts is actually longer than my
Yeah, it-
15-inch MacBook, and
Actually,
the footprint.
it is.
Actually.
It is actually.
The footprint.
You know, I know you guys can't see that, but side to side, his MacBook Pro, the 15-inch model, will extend from here to here. So the actual footprint being on your lap, you do need to have longer legs, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm a shorter person. I get by, but just in terms of lappability, this isn't the best machine. Of course not. It does what it, it can, it can do that.
It can be a laptop, but it's not quite a laptop.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up because again, I'm still in college, so there are some classes that we still have those little desks that pop out inside. You've seen it.
The auditorium style desk.
Yeah. That's a problem. I'd never this is the first time I had a class in one of those auditorium styles style buildings. I'd put it on and it would slip right off because the desks are so small.
Yes, they're
that
very
this
tiny.
Is not good enough unless I'm like this, which I'm not gonna have. I'm not gonna type like that.
Yeah.
I ended up just writing, and that's what I usually I mainly use the machine for. But when I did want to type documents in class, or I'm trying to code in class while I'm following the lectures, it doesn't work as well. So that's something to consider, especially if they're sort of saying, "Oh, this is one of the best machines if you're a student, if you're doing this."
But
I
not
wouldn't say-
quite,
Yeah,
right?
I do think it's a great machine for students, but there are some quirks like that I will have to mention. And yeah,
Speaking of quirks, let's talk about this keyboard right here.
yeah, it's all right. It's the Surface keyboard, the type cover, it has evolved in the last 3 generations, and I hope they make it better in the 4th, the next rumored device. But it's the keyboard itself, it's okay. It's clicky for what it is. It's an okay keyboard. It's backlit. It's a nice. I give it a 7.
Right.
For what it is, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I've typed on it, and I really don't like it
Yeah,
at
see?
all. It's feels very flimsy, very
Yeah.
cheap. Even though they sell it for what $130,
$130.
it seems extremely extremely cheap for what it is.
I was talking to someone about that, and I was like, why didn't they just include it in? And then someone tried to argue me. Well, there are some people, that just want the tablet. And
Okay, let's
so
humor
much for
that
the Pro
argument.
model. Yeah.
Let's humor that argument for a second. Do you use this Surface Pro in just tablet mode?
No, I use it sometimes in tablet mode. Maybe if I'm laying in bed, really.
Right.
I'll just use that
Pop
as a
it off.
tablet. But even then, I don't really take it off. I just like that,
Yeah. So you don't.
I don't really take it off.
So
too
it
often.
needs.
Yeah. Again, this is the
case.
Pro model. I don't know any professionals who only use a touchscreen device.
Huh.
I personally don't know about you. And this sucks.
Yeah.
The
trackpad.
the trackpad, it's terrible. I mean, you can use the touchscreen, so that does make up for it. But I still, personally, I prefer using a trackpad or a mouse over a touchscreen. So when I have the option to use this or this, I'm forced to use this in this case, the touchscreen. I mean, because the trackpad kind of sucks. That sums up the keyboard, I guess.
Speaking of problems with the keyboard, there's actually some problems that you've been experiencing.
Yeah, and I
with
read
the
it.
keyboard.
Yeah, I read it. Some people having the same issues. Now I'm not sure if it's with Windows 10, because I didn't have this issue when I originally had the Surface Pro 3. I had it a while back, actually, when it was first released, and I came back to it because it was on sale. Again, they're probably releasing the Surface Pro 4. But I've been having this connection issue. So every now and then, when I wake it up from sleep, 2 problems occur. Either the keyboard doesn't work, which again I can quickly snap it off, snap it back on. And it sometimes, maybe 80% of the times, snapping it off and on will work. But the other 20%, the keyboard doesn't function proper. I could type and it'll delay. I'm like,
That sounds like a software problem, right?
Yeah, it could be Windows 10 because Windows 10 is relatively new. Second problem is the if I leave it in tablet mode and I put it to sleep and I wake back up, I can't switch it out to desktop mode. And usually you can, from the side, swipe it. It's off right now, but usually when you're in tablet mode or desktop mode, you can swipe it the side and you get sort of a notifications bar, and you can turn off, or you can switch, from tablet or desktop mode. Sometimes the touchscreen just locks up on me and I can't do anything. I can't swipe to the right, and sometimes when I try to click the tiles, like sort of that Windows 8 tile menu, I can't click anything. And when I try to click something, it sort of thinks I'm holding on to the click. And I don't know if that makes sense. It thinks I'm holding on to it, so it thinks, oh, do you want to move the tile anywhere? And of course, that's not what I want to do, so I usually just restart the machine. And it doesn't happen often, but it's enough to say, it's an issue because it's sort of a tablet type machine, a tablet/laptop machine. Whereas you wouldn't get that with just a predominantly tablet machine or a full-fledged laptop, I guess.
So it seems to me as though the software, even though it's optimized to run Windows 10, it's still in beta. Would you say that? From all these little bugs that you're experiencing.
With any operating system that makes a massive jump, from Windows 7 to Windows 8, there was a lot of issues from the start. People complained, and from Windows 8 to Windows 10, it's quite a substantial update. So if there are bugs, I do understand, but things should be fixed and things should be addressed. It's not just me. I've read a few people having the same issues on some forums, so I'm 90% sure it's a Windows 10 problem right now.
So giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're transitioning, they're going through some growing pains. How long is enough? This is the Surface Pro 3.
Yeah.
So they've gone through 3 versions and they still have not knocked down all these little issues. And these issues are like usability issues that are detrimental. You got to hard reboot it in order to fix it.
Again, I think that's more of a Windows 10 problem, because when I originally had the Surface Pro, it ran fine. I didn't have this issue, but again, that's no excuse.
Right. Especially for their flagship device.
This is their machine that they really want to push. Microsoft's machine. There are some things that I do like about the machine a lot. So I commute a lot, whether it's going to school, whether it's going to visit my parents, or whether I'm running errands. This machine is very nice in that aspect. Now, I'll give you an example. Just the other day, I took my mother to a doctor's appointment. She doesn't speak English. So I took her to the doctor's appointment, and I needed to read a couple chapters for class and take some notes. I would never bring in a laptop I wouldn't bring in a laptop to some office and just sit there and read with my laptop like this. I just feels like, to me, it feels uncomfortable. It feels a tad bit awkward to do so. Instead, I'd go in like this, and it feels much more natural to sit there reading like this in the office. And that alone makes me a lot more productive because I'm actually using the machine. Whereas if I had a traditional laptop, I'd leave it behind. And again, it may sound like a small thing, but if you really have to judge the machine based on your usage. And my personal experience with it is I tend to take this machine out more on the go.
I see.
So that's why I do like the machine. For that, again, it's not the most powerful, but just from that aspect alone, it makes it a great machine for me personally.
The ultimate question is, why should I buy a Surface? If I am using a MacBook Pro, I'm used to the ecosystem. Obviously, I got to make a jump into Windows. But besides that, why should I? And another question is, we're seeing iOS jumping in on the bandwagon with their iPad Pro,
having the Surface Pro.
Yes.
Copycat.
Yes. So now people are finally realizing how good this machine is.
Yeah.
But if I'm a newbie, why should I buy this machine? Besides the things that you use, why should I give up my laptop? And can I replace my laptop with a Surface Pro?
That's great. That's a great question. If I'm advising you right now, I know Seth very well, and I know what he uses his laptop for. I wouldn't recommend it to you.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend you the Surface because I don't think this could replace the MacBook in any way. That's what he uses. Again, the MacBook. Right. It cannot replace it. Even if you spec out the machine, it's just not the best laptop. And if that's what you want, right? A laptop. Right. If he was in the market, he's looking for a laptop. He's not looking for a hybrid. So I wouldn't recommend it to you personally. But why should someone else randomly buy it? Again, for its portability features, for its note-taking features, even though the little holder kind of sucks, the note-taking features,
it's for the average consumer, you could say, that would want to also use it to take notes and
Yeah.
consume a little bit of media, but not
Definitely.
for anything serious. Not for
Yeah.
any type of production work that requires intensive CPU. Not for like Photoshop.
Yeah, because I know they offer an i7 model, and they, Microsoft make claims that it's very silent machine.
Real world.
Yeah, real world uses. I've watched a couple of 1080p YouTube videos, and the fan kicks in. So I can imagine doing intense work with it. Again, I only have the i3 model, so that is the base model. So I have to give them the benefit of the doubt for that. But I just can't see this machine being your video editing,
Yes.
your main video editing machine. I'm sure some people can get by with it, but for what we do, it just can't be.
But for someone in your shoes, a normal college student,
yeah, college student,
this would be perfect, right?
It is definitely perfect. It's not the most powerful, but it's portable. They can use it on the go. They can take physical notes or written notes.
And the price point is very competitive.
As of
too,
right now, yeah, because again, Surface 4 around the corner, this has dropped down substantially. You can buy a used one on Craigslist. I've seen it for like $300 the other day, and I was like, oh snap,
Nice.
super cheap. Again, it's not the best machine for power users. It only has one USB port.
That reminds me of the MacBook.
And that's that's shitty.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah. So it has an SD slot, mini display port, headphone jack, and you can stick in a micro SD card. Wait, is that another port that I'm? No, it's not. So one USB. I didn't think it was that big of an issue at first, but I still use a USB a mouse that has a USB receiver.
Mm-hmm.
The trackball. So I plug that in all the time, especially for this device because I don't like using the touchscreen mainly, and I don't like using the trackpad. So I use the mouse. And I know you can buy a Bluetooth mouse. That's another story.
Yeah.
But from what I personally, it's my experience. I plug in my mouse and I don't have anything else to use it with. I can't plug in
really
anything else.
sucks.
I can't use. I could buy a dongle.
Right,
what
right.
Apple tries to do, but no. I have a USB plug-in now, but now I can't use my mouse. So it's just one of those things, man.
One thing that I noticed about the Surface is that it has a camera on it.
Oh yeah.
So
it's actually pretty good.
you can actually be in class and record a lecture or keep some girls or something. So that seems kind of cool. I mean, we have cameras on our MacBooks, but they're front-facing cameras.
Yeah. So this comes with a front and back camera. So it is. You can't see it, so it is nice.
We're thinking of the uses, but in practice, it may not be totally useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, I like the machine. I give it a solid 8.5 for it being a tablet/laptop. This cannot be a tablet replacement, personally.
You mean laptop replacement?
Both.
Okay.
But it can't be a tablet replacement, and it can't be a laptop fully. I'm sure you can get by, but personally, it's not a laptop replacement for me or a tablet. Tablets, when you're in tablet mode, it's like Windows 8. It still kind of sucks because you have the tiles there, but everything you're navigating with, it's still microscopic.
Mm-hmm.
As far as browsing the web and such like that. You can adjust it a little bit, but it's not the best machine. I'd say in that sense, an iPad is still a better tablet device. So it's not really a great tablet machine.
Speaking of the iPad, let's talk a little bit about the big elephant in the room. When the Surface came out, everyone thought that it was going to be an iPad killer. It turns out it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it created its own niche. It carved its own spot in the computer world. And now, Apple has released the iPad Pro, or is about to release.
The Surface killer, I mean.
Yes, the Surface killer. And what do you think about that? Why do you think that Apple, a company that has been known to do their own thing and innovate on their own, they're now pretty much copying Microsoft?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't like what Apple's doing because they have the iPad Mini, they have the iPad, and they have the iPad Pro. And the only thing different about them is one's a smaller screen, one's a medium-sized display, and one's a large display. Nothing else is different. The internals are different, but if you get an iPad Mini, what you're gonna use it for, it's gonna be smooth. What you get the iPad Air for is not as powerful as the iPad Pro, but it will do everything you do on it just fine. And now you're gonna get the iPad Pro. They say they're gonna develop more Pro applications, which may be true, but I think it's sort of silly. Maybe the device itself is not silly, but the fact that Apple is trying to sell us another product.
Yeah.
And what I don't like is they have the Surface Pen. I used to call it Surface Pen because that's how similar it is. The pencil, the Apple Pencil.
Apple Pencil.
Yeah, I love how they we can't use pencil. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I do like stylish. I like using it, but I think it's ridiculous that the Surface the Apple Pencil only works on the iPad Pro. That's stupid, man.
Right.
I could be mistaken. I think it only works on iPad Pro. Why wouldn't they just, if they already made a new iPad Mini 4, why couldn't they just add that technology into it now? I watch in like 2 years they're gonna release the iPad Air like 5, whatever, and like, oh, now it works with touch pens, and people are like, this is a new change.
Maybe it has to do with the sensor that is involved.
No,
with
that's
the
what
pencil,
I'm definitely.
how it's curved.
It is, but they should have included in the next generation of device. They just released the iPad Mini 4 with it, but it's not.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be compatible with the pencil. So it's gonna be one of those things where the rest of the devices will play catch up now.
So
it's a marketing thing.
Yeah, it's marketing. They're artificially creating an inferior product so that they can sell more in the future.
Yeah, so
push the
maybe in a couple of generations, the iPad Mini 4 and the iPad Air, whatever, whenever it comes out, it will work with a pencil. But as of now, it's sort of. I think it's sort of ridiculous that they're doing that.
It seems that they're marketing the iPad Pro to designers and marketing firms, and no one else really.
Yeah.
So if you have a Wacom tablet, you would look at the iPad Pro and say, "Wow, this can replace all that, and I can use." But how many people actually use it to sketch stuff? I don't think a lot of people would. Maybe a lot of people use it to play around with, but not actually to create content.
I don't know either. Like professionals.
Yeah, because I had a Wacom tablet and I used it for a little bit, and I realized it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
And I pretty much scrapped it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like professionals will stick with professional devices, because even the Surface Pro 3, it was advertised to be, it could replace your Wacom tablet, which I guess it can for some. But professionals, I've seen videos. I still prefer using a standalone device for drawing, and it's understandable.
Let's talk quickly about the software. The Surface Pro 3 runs a full desktop OS.
Yeah,
it runs Windows 10.
Yep.
Not RT, not anything like that.
No.
The iPad Pro is still running iOS and not OS 10. As a base, it is not a production OS. Again, for some professionals
trying to sell the idea like, oh, we're going to have developers make more pro apps, and you can even see in their commercial now, like, oh, you see, I think like an iMovie, an app, and it just, it looks like they're doing professional work, and you see like artists drawing on it. They always try to settle like that.
Yeah. We think that it's not going to be a very we think
it's gonna sell well.
Yeah, it's gonna sell.
It's gonna sell well. It might be a cool device.
Yeah.
But
for us, it's gonna be a big joke.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let us know what you guys think of the Surface and where Microsoft is going. If you have any comments on the iPad Pro and how they're blatantly copying the Surface Pro, let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in seeing the Surface Pro 4 when that comes up, I'm gonna try to get my hands on that as soon as it comes out. And it's rumored to be released or announced in October, something with their hardware announcements. It's still a rumor, but there's a good chance that they'll release it then. And if it does release on the same day, I'll try to pick one up the same day if I can, if the money is there. So,
as always, please like, favorite, and subscribe.
See you guys soon.